allow me to address a silent but deadly crisis confronting our nation today: alcohol and drug abuse has become a clear and present danger to Kenya's health, security, and economic future. 1 in every 6 Kenyans aged between 15 and 65, that is close to 5 million people, are currently using at least one drug or substance of abuse. This is no longer a marginal issue. It is a national emergency. The burden falls heaviest on men and young people. 1 in every 3 Kenyan men in this age group uses drugs or abuses alcohol. Among young adults aged between 25 and 35, our most productive population, 1 in every 5 is affected. Over 1.5 million young Kenyans are being pulled away from opportunity into dependency. Alcohol, and I repeat, alcohol remains the most widely used substance, with more than 3.2 million current users. Initiation often occurs between 16 and 20 years, and in some cases, as early as 7 years, exposing children to lifelong harm before even adulthood begins. Kenya cannot grow, Kenya cannot compete or remain secure when millions are trapped in addiction. This crisis demands decisive national action. Accordingly, going into the new year, the government will confront alcohol and drug abuse as a national development and security emergency, backed by political will, expanded enforcement capacity, and coordinated action across government. We will establish a strengthened anti-narcotics unit within the Directorate of Criminal Investigations with operational capacity comparable to the anti-terrorism police unit. Fully resourced with modern surveillance, intelligence, forensics, financial investigation capabilities, the unit will operate as a permanent multi-agency formation, working closely with the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, the National Intelligence Service, border management agencies, county governments, and international partners. To support this expansion, the unit's strength will be boosted from the current 200 to 700 officers through new recruitment and redeployment, all trained and equipped for national operations against high-level traffickers, financiers, and organized criminal networks. Asset tracing, seizure, and forfeiture will become central to every narcotics and illicit alcohol investigation. The Asset Recovery Agency will be engaged from the point of seizure, and all assets used or acquired through these activities, including cash, vehicles, land, buildings, and businesses, will be treated as proceeds of crime, promptly frozen, prosecuted, forfeited to the state, and redirected to rehabilitation, prevention, and treatment programs. Recognizing these crimes as organized criminal enterprises, I urge the judiciary to consider establishing specialized courts to fast-track cases. And I will be consulting with the Chief Justice on how the executive can support this effort, including resourcing while fully respecting judicial independence. Border security will be strengthened through enhanced capacity for the Border Patrol Unit and the National Police Service, including modern surveillance technologies to monitor movement across our borders. Finally, to safeguard integrity within the security agencies, any government official, including security officers, found culpable of facilitating, protecting, or colluding with drug traffickers or illicit alcohol networks will be prosecuted and dismissed forthwith from service. Fellow citizens, this struggle is deeply personal to me as president and as a parent. No law can replace parental guidance, community values, or early intervention in the lives of our children. As parents, we must choose to be present in the lives of our children. We cannot afford to delegate our children to others. We must guide them, protect them, and intervene early before addiction takes hold. If we fail to act, we fail our children, and we fail the next generation. If we rise to this duty, we secure not only their future, but the moral strength and destiny of our nation. And just as we demand responsibility in our homes, we must demand the same at an even higher standard from those entrusted with leadership in our public life. Leaders must lead from the front. I reiterate that 2026 and the years beyond will usher in a period of accountability. Leadership will not be judged not by promises made, but by performance delivered. Not by the exuberance of youth or the longevity of service, but by results and a proven track record. Those entrusted with the privilege of leadership will be held to account for the service they render and the outcomes they deliver to the people, not for the excuses crafted to mask a poverty of ideas or a lack of ambition. The measure of leadership is impact, and that standard will apply to all. Happy New Year 2026. May God bless you all. May God bless Kenya. And I thank you for your attention. Asanteni sana.
President William Ruto's declaration of war against drug abuse, illicit brews, narcotics, and rogue police officers represents a significant policy moment that demands both recognition and scrutiny. This announcement signals an escalation in the government's approach to what has become a devastating social crisis in Kenya. The drug and substance abuse problem in Kenya has reached alarming proportions. Coastal regions have long grappled with heroin addiction, while urban centers face cocaine influx. Perhaps most insidious is the spread of illicit brews and cheap spirits that have claimed lives across rural and urban communities alike. The president's decision to address this issue so directly acknowledges what many Kenyans have been crying out for: urgent, decisive action. What makes this declaration particularly noteworthy is the explicit inclusion of rogue police in the targets. This acknowledgement that law enforcement corruption enables drug trade demonstrates a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. Police complicity in protecting drug networks has been an open secret, and naming this reality suggests a more comprehensive approach than previous administrations have taken. Declaration of war, however, are easier made than won. Kenya has seen anti-drug initiatives before, and the pattern has always been the same. Initial enthusiasm, high-profile raids, and then a gradual return to business as usual. The test of this initiative will be in its execution. Several questions emerge immediately. What resources will be allocated? Will there be collaboration with county governments who have better intelligence on drug networks? How will the administration balance enforcement with rehabilitation for addicts who are victims as much as they are perpetrators? And critically, how will the government ensure that anti-corruption component targeting rogue police officers doesn't simply push the problem deeper underground? The rehabilitation infrastructure in Kenya remains woefully inadequate. Without massive investment in treatment centers, counseling services, and reintegration programs, an enforcement-heavy approach simply risks cycling addicts through criminal justice system without addressing the underlying health issues. It is worth noting that Eldoret, the venue for this announcement, is politically significant. It is a stronghold in Ruto's Rift Valley base, and the drug problem there reflects how this crisis has penetrated even areas of relative economic activity and political stability. The choice of venue may signal that the president understands this isn't just a coastal or urban slum problem. It is a national emergency that affects his core constituencies. However, cynics might point out that strong declarations play well politically. The president faces economic headwinds, and a tough on crime stance can serve as a useful rallying point. The real measure will be sustained commitment beyond the initial announcement and media attention. For this war to be anything more than just rhetorical, several elements are essential. First, genuine police reform and accountability mechanisms that can withstand institutional resistance. Second, coordinated action across multiple government agencies. Interior, health, education, and treasury all have roles to play. Third, community engagement, particularly with youth and in the most affected areas. Fourth, addressing the economic desperation that makes both dealing and using drugs attractive options for Kenyans. Perhaps most importantly, the effort requires political will that doesn't waver when it becomes inconvenient or when powerful people are implicated. If the campaign against rogue police stops at junior officers while senior officers with known connections to drug networks remain untouched, public cynicism will only deepen. Kenya needs this fight to be real. The human cost of drug abuse, broken families, lost productivity, health crisis, and communities in despair demands urgent action. President Ruto's declaration, if backed by genuine resources, sustained political will, and comprehensive strategy, could mark a turning point. But Kenyans have learned to be cautious about grand pronouncements. The proof, as always, will be in the follow-through. The coming months will reveal whether this declaration at Eldoret State Lodge was the beginning of a sustained campaign or another forgotten promise. The stakes couldn't be higher. An entire generation hangs in the balance.
Don't forget to subscribe.